Let's try it this way. Is anyone not ready? All right, I don't see anything. So good morning. As many of you may recall, last October, I appointed Tony Araujo as interim police chief for the city of West Palm Beach with a clear mission to conduct a top-down review of the department and ensure we uphold the highest standards of public safety. Over the past several months, he has not only met that challenge, but he has exceeded it beyond my wildest expectations. He's demonstrated the leadership, vision, and accountability our city sorely needs. Now, throughout this process, my administration has acted with all deliberate speed to ensure stability within the department and to position our police force for long-term success. After careful consideration and based upon the results that I have witnessed, I am confident that Chief Araujo is the right person to lead our police department into the future. And so for those reasons, at tonight's City Commission meeting, I will request the Commission's ratification of my appointment of Interim Chief Tony Araujo as the permanent Chief of Police for West Palm Beach, effective Monday, March 3rd, 2025. There are three key points I want to make regarding this decision. When we last spoke on this topic in October, I did make a commitment to conduct a national search. At that time, I believed a national search was the best way to identify the strongest leader for our department. However, over the past several months, our interim police chief has demonstrated through action, not just words, that he is the leader our department and the city needs. His performance, vision, and ability to drive results have made it clear that he is indeed the right choice for the department. A couple of examples. He's implemented a shift in the city's policing model to increase officer accountability and strengthen police-community relationships. He's already began rebuilding the top team through the hiring of a new assistant police chief, hiring of a new public information officer, and promotion of a new police major and several sergeants. Second point, when we started the transition, I believe we needed a fresh perspective from outside. But through this process, it became clear that Chief Araujo wasn't just maintaining stability, he was actively improving the department. Chief Araujo has already initiated a top-down review of the department. His leadership has been tested, and the results speak for themselves. As interim police chief, he took charge of the department, setting clear employee expectations to build a culture of timely, credible, value-driven services to the public. He engaged the Kalina Group to conduct a top-to-bottom review and assessment of the department's effectiveness, practices, staffing, and needs. The Kalina Group is an independent assessor, a well-established credentialed firm out of Washington, D.C. He's reorganized the department to address deficiencies and gaps in leadership and delivery of services, which will support stronger community engagement and proactive policing efforts. He's instituting leadership training through the FBI, National Law Enforcement Training Group. He's rebranding the training unit and including a leadership development component to ensure personnel are properly trained and policy focused. In other words, even as interim chief, he has been very proactive in addressing some critical needs that the department had. And third point, his commitment to the city of West Palm Beach. And my commitment to the city. My primary responsibility is to make the best decision for public safety and the people of our city. Leadership is about making the best decisions, even if that means adjusting your approach. My responsibility is to ensure that West Palm Beach has the strongest possible leadership in law enforcement. And I'm confident that our interim chief is the right person to take us forward. West Palm Beach deserves a police chief who can lead with strength, integrity, and a commitment to public safety. Over the next few months, I'm going to organize a listening tour throughout the city. Chief Araujo and I will be in attendance to introduce the community to this great man and to the great work he is already doing and will continue to do. At the end of the day, it is important that the quality of our police department match the quality of our city. We are and I'm biased, but we are a world-class city, and we deserve a world-class police department. I believe that Tony Araujo can take us there. So, I will now turn it over to Chief Araujo and let him make any comments.
Thank you, Mayor, for your confidence in me. Since October 2nd, my command staff and I have been assessing the police department, where we have found competent and engaged sworn and professional staff that understand and practice service above self. I want to express my gratitude to all of them, and especially those that have taken up extra duties during this challenging period. Moving forward, we will continue our comprehensive analysis as we plan for the now and the future. I am committed, as is my command staff, to align our agency in all things best practice. Timely, credible, value-driven professional service will be our daily measure as we provide community-centered public safety services in concert with our community and our governance. Mayor James, Commissioners, City Administrator Johnson, and all city staff, thank you for your steadfast support and assistance in our efforts to enhance police services. RPD requires such support, and it is reassuring to know that we do not stand alone. To our community, I have attended numerous neighborhood meetings and events in the last 4 months. Thank you for your welcoming and very candid discussions. Those discussions, and many yet to be had, will assist us in better serving you. I commit to you fair, just, and constitutionally sound policing and a posture in everything that we do. We will be engaged in improving the quality of life of all of our citizens and in every neighborhood on our path to maintaining and growing a public safety footing that is present and accessible to all. One that establishes honest dialogue, committed to building partnerships and trust that helps us improve services and weathers the difficult moments. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll open up for any questions.
Mayor, Dave Bowman, WPB-TV.
Sir.
You have clarified why you didn't open the nationwide search at the time. But my question is, why not be upfront with the people of the city saying we're not going to have this nationwide search much earlier on in the process, and potentially having people that might want to apply for this position just waiting for them?
Well, as I said, we move with deliberate speed. I didn't come to the decision not to conduct a nationwide search immediately. That was something that took time as I observed the performance of Interim Chief, received the reports, and watched the direction he was moving in. So I believe that now is as appropriate time as any to make the announcement we're not going to conduct a nationwide search. I have a guy already. Any other questions?
Mayor, you said back in October that there were some financial improprieties in the upper levels of the police department. Can you be more specific, and will those lead to anyone being fired or any criminal charges?
I can't be more specific because they are still under investigation. There's a criminal investigation undergoing, so I can't be any more specific than what I was earlier.
I'd like to ask the police chief, the new chief, a question. Several months ago, there was a chase involving 7 police officers from West Palm who chased an individual down in Boynton Beach where he rammed another car and killed 2 ladies and an unborn child. To my knowledge, those officers are still on paid leave here 6-7 months later. What's the status of that investigation?
That investigation is also still open.
Are the officers still on the paid leave?
Yes, they are.
Do you anticipate criminal charges against any of those people?
That decision will be made by the state attorney.
Sir, I'd like to follow up on that. Not only do you have those 7 officers on paid leave, but you also have 5 administrators, correct me if I'm wrong, that were part of that. That's 12 individuals who are on the payroll who aren't able to work. How do you address that to fill in the gaps? Because we're talking about salaries that add up to well over $1 million for people just sitting home.
Well, I believe very strongly in due diligence and due process. So the officers are afforded due process. These are lengthy investigations. They're very detailed, so we're going to take the appropriate time to investigate them.
How much of a struggle is it financially on force when you have that many people out on the street?
Well, what we've done is, the good news is we have staff officers, lieutenant's grade and whatnot, that have stepped up. They're doing double duty of sorts. It's part of that succession training everybody speaks to, where they're getting it firsthand. I must admit, I've been doing things that I haven't done since I was a lieutenant, but that's okay. I'm very well versed at doing it. And they have taught me, I have taught them, and together we have accomplished what we set to do. I can tell you, as the mayor said previously, and I can assure everybody in this room and the citizens, our level of consistent service is it meets requirements. So we're not suffering in that respect. Instead of working 40 or 50 hours, my command staff are working 70 or 80. One of them is standing right next to you. So that's how we get through it.
And I have to say, let me just build upon that statement. That's one of the things I was most concerned about and most impressed with is the interim chief's ability to figure it out, how to maintain the quality of service that the residents of the city deserve, being so woefully understaffed. But he came into it with his eyes wide open and has figured out a way. This is not a sustainable model, so we hope that those investigations will be concluded sooner rather than later, but we have to let the process take its course. I'm sorry, somebody had a...
Mayor, if I could, before
Yes.
you take another question, I think it's important to make the fine distinction that the staff that is on administrative leave is not the feet on the street. It is not our police officers who are on administrative leave. So in terms of coverage for our city, there is no gap in service that is being provided to the city. We have high-level command staff that are subject to those leaves, and that's where the gaps are being filled at the high level, not behind the patrol car that are responding to calls from the constituents. So we need to make certain that we make that fine distinction.
Excellent point.
Chief,
All right, one at a time.
I had a question for the,
Yes, sir.
what changes did you see were immediately needed when you became interim chief? What did you identify when you took a look at the department? What things did you think needed to be changed, updated, scrapped? What did you see that needed to be done?
Well, one of the first things I saw was our deployment, our real-time deployment of our patrol force. We were using the stratified policing model, which is good. The data we obtain from that model, how we use it to deploy our resources and whatnot, it's good stuff. There's all types of policing models across the land. What I didn't like about it was that officers were not assigned a sector, an area of responsibility. They had 3 or 4 regions within the city, and they would gravitate where the calls for service were, or the clouds, the areas of crime. But what would happen? You'd have officers grouping in certain areas, but they weren't properly dispersed and deployed. It's a large city. You can't get east, west, north, or south that quickly, especially when traffic is congested. So we went back to sector coverage. That means you're going to have the same group of officers working the same areas, which is critical to the neighborhood, to problem solving. They build familiarity with those residents. They understand what should be there, what shouldn't, because they're in the neighborhoods. They're touching everything every day, instead of working general areas where they're just responding to a call for service. So that's an immediate change we made. We had to wait a couple weeks because we had to change the GPS mapping and a lot of technical stuff. But we did that, and it was well received not only by our citizens, but by the officers.
Chief, there's a large immigrant community in West Palm Beach. There's a lot of fear within that community nowadays with the raids of federal agencies, I believe. Is there a message you would like to give them as Chief of Police of West Palm Beach?
Well, we're local law enforcement. We're not federal agents. The police department's not going to go on every block and check somebody to see what their immigration status is. As I've said for years now, live as you should, work, take care of your family and whatnot, and you won't hear from the police. Now, if there's an issue that occurs where somebody has committed a crime, it doesn't matter whether you're a legal alien, resident, whatever we're calling them nowadays, then you'll have to deal with the police. But other than that, we're not going to be checking the neighborhoods for immigration status or whatnot. That's the federal government's job.
Does that mean if ICE asks for your assistance, you would not help?
If any police officer, police agency, or ICE asks for our assistance, especially in an emergency situation, we're responding. And we'll have the appropriate supervision respond also and make a case-by-case decision on what actions we're going to take.
Chief, when you were the interim chief, and it was assumed, you really said it in this conversation, you're going to go back to the sheriff's office. At what point did you decide, hey, I like this job? This might be something better in terms of public service?
I came here, as the mayor said, the first day to fill a void. What changed? I arrived to West Palm Beach when I was 16 from Los Angeles. I lived on 45th Street, Greenwood, graduated from North Shore High School, played b-ball at a lot of these parks. The brief moments I've had to get away from the office, I've done what I called unannounced patrols, just to see what the radio chatter's like, what the patrol folks are doing. And a lot of those memories pop back. You know, my parents lived in this city. They're buried in this city. And I don't mean to be morbid. So I made a decision point. My wife's in the audience right now. It's been a lot more to do. I can tell you where I was at. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying that, you know, I had a turnkey operation where I was at. This is a lot of work. But those moments when I've been out there, having memories pop back, meeting the constituency, the residents. I've gone to neighborhood meetings where people say, Tony, is that you? Yeah, it's me, Angela. So that's what put me over the edge to stay here. Simple as that.
Can you clarify one thing? So Faye said a few moments ago that there are not...
Ms. Johnson said what?
Ms. Johnson.
Yeah.
Said that there are not, the only people on paid leave are the administrators, so is it correct, though, that there are 7 officers still on paid leave?
Yeah, there's 7 officers that are not assigned to patrol, but there are 7 officers. And then, so you understand, we have a minimum deployment number that covers all the bases. We never go below that minimum patrol number. So as Ms. Johnson says, we're well-staffed and all the bases are being covered.
How many officer vacancies do you have?
I believe we have, I'm not sure, I can get back to you, I think it's 12.
Yeah, I was about
Hard-
to say
hard
13, my last check.
There you
So
go.
you're right there in the ballpark.
And we're actively recruiting and actively processing folks right now.
How do you talk to the community about situations like these top-ranking officers on administrative leave? Sometimes people see the news stories, builds mistrust, because it's not officers on the ground, it's the top brass. How do you talk with the community about situations like this if it does build mistrust over time? Because they've heard these stories come up.
Well, it's the old saying, you build trust over a lifetime, you can lose it in a minute. What do you do? At the appropriate time, you're transparent. Remember, we have due process for those that are accused. But you address it quickly, you mitigate it, you address it, and do what you're supposed to, which is what the mayor did. You're out there, you answer the tough questions. You don't think I've answered some very, very tough questions the last 4 months in community meetings? Of course I have. And I wasn't even here for that, right? But it's about the badge. It's about the commitment we have to the community. And when I talk about those timely, credible, value-driven professional service, you got to cover all those bases. So in spite of the bad things that happen, and when you lose some public trust, you get back to that, you stay there, you demand that you model it, and what happens? You get back to where you're supposed to be. And again, the citizens understand that we're imperfect. Any police agency is an imperfect police agency striving to achieve best practice every day. So when you lose it, you get back on it and get the best practice again.
To build upon that answer, I think it's important to understand that it was the city that initiated the investigation. When I became aware of the possibility that these financial improprieties may have been committed, I ordered my staff to further investigate those. And as we dug down deeper, then I took the action that was necessary, including referring those cases to the state attorney's office, firing the previous police chief, hiring an interim police chief. So if the public is concerned about administration's reaction and response to those behaviors, that's where it starts. We initiate the investigation. We took immediate action to address it, and now we're just waiting for the results of the state attorney's investigation. But the initial investigation was initiated by the city administration once I heard of those rumors.
Mayor, this is the second chief that you've gotten to appoint as mayor. Are you feeling like, do you feel like you were 0 for 1 coming into this election? You selected the chief, and then in recent months, whenever you've been asked about it, you've laid out some concerns you've had with the police department. That was your hire to make, just as this man is your hire to make. Do you feel that you need to get it right this time as opposed to not having gotten it right before?
Well, I feel that I need to get it right every time. And I'm human. We can't. Now, I don't say that I didn't get it right the first time. Over time, things panned out that perhaps didn't end up the way it should have, but, Adderley served a good 4 or 5 years, if I'm correct. And it's not as if these items or these issues started his first day in office. So I believe that we got good service out of Chief Adderley during his term. Was he perfect? No. And so at some point I made a decision that we needed to change. But I don't necessarily say I got it wrong the first time. Can we be better this time? Do I want to be better this time? Absolutely. I want to be better each and every day in my job. And so I hope that with this position, we get closer to perfection. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on you, Chief. I don't expect you to be perfect. But, at the end of the day, as the CEO of the city, I have to make decisions based upon the facts that I'm giving, and we do the best job that we possibly can.
Chief, how many years' experience do you have in law enforcement, and what is your salary now as police chief?
I have 42. I'd have been 43 if I'd have reached March 2nd at PBSO. I think my salary is in the 230s, not sure.
So you spent 42 years with the Sheriff's Department?
Correct, right out of the Marine Corps.
Okay, that's the only agency you work for, right?
That's it.
You said 130s or 230s?
I think it's 220. I don't know the exact. It's over 200,000. You can get that from the city.
When you left the PBSO to take the interim job, you were a colonel at the Sheriff's Office?
Yes, and I took a big pay cut. I'm all in.
I'll ask another. What would you say is your biggest priority or the biggest need that the police department has that you look to do something about?
Well, everything rises and falls on leadership, and especially our sergeants and lieutenants. We have good ones. We just have to model the way for them and train them. And I want to increase training at the police department. That takes time and resource, and I've had those discussions with the mayor. He clearly understands that, and that's where we're headed. If you train, you prepare, you model the way, and you have the appropriate real-time supervision deployed, it minimizes those bad situations from occurring.
And just to clarify, the city commission votes you through, it's March 3rd you take the role permanently? Is that the date?
Yes.
City commission doesn't have to vote on this issue, right?
Yes, I do. under our charter, they need to consent to the appointment. So that will happen at tonight's meeting. I mean, the vote will be taken at tonight's meeting. I hope that it will be a positive vote. I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to ask, do you anticipate any opposition?
I don't anticipate any opposition, but again, I'm not taking anything for granted. We expect it'll be a positive vote, but I do want to make sure the commissioners feel that they, as our charter requires, that they have a voice in this matter. Absolutely.
How old are you, Chief?
65.
Some people might say at that age, I'm 65, but you think it's, how close are you to retirement?
Not close.
Good answer.
Any other questions? Well, again, thank you so much for your time, and have a good day, everyone.